Bansali, you've always believed in buying businesses which offer value and where markets are mispricing the growth. So which are the pockets, sectors of businesses where markets are mispricing growth on the lower side?
I think they're all over. In a bad market, people are, because for technical reasons, someone wanting to get out in a hurry or because of some adverse elements, these opportunities come across sectors. One case was like LIC Housing Finance, that some scandal hit it, and I think a lot of people thought that the company was a sound one. And so you get those opportunities. Such opportunities, I think, are surfacing everywhere. The other big news is that some of the exit valuations that we have seen for companies across sectors, whether it was a chemical manufacturer, whether it was a paper manufacturer, whether it's a technology company, whether it was a BPO, they have been eye-popping numbers. And therefore, investors should take courage that if you bought a good business, you're sitting in a good business, there's a lot of inherent value there.
But Mr. Bansali, if I look at some specific consumption-oriented stocks or the popular stocks, Jubilant FoodWorks, Titan Industries, VIP, Nestle, these stocks are trading at P multiples of 30 plus, 35 plus, even 40 plus. Is there a bubble in making there? Selectively though.
There could be. So I don't want to take one particular stock. But clearly when people are wanting to play a discovered story again and again, this is what happens. So I think in this world currently, a lot of bubbles are being blown up again all over because the money supply is still pretty good in the world.
12 months ago as a house, you were bullish on real estate and power utility companies. Unfortunately, these companies have not managed to generate a lot of wealth. So what are your thoughts on both these businesses now?
I think both of them hit regulatory challenges. And these things happen. But I think basically these are good sectors to be in, and if the values have come crashing down in these, one should definitely look at it. The power sector particularly has found execution extremely challenging. Some of the policy moves on material supplies and the linkages were completely unexpected, and I think there is a story which is developing, and there is a concern that how does one make long-term decisions. As and when clarity emerges on that, I think it will be a good sector because you can't really go wrong from a demand point of view. Within that sector, you find companies that have shown execution, that have shown far-sightedness in building reserves and creating own linkages. They're still trading well.
So avoid power in the short term, in the medium term, buy real estate stocks. Can I safely assume that is the message?
That's not what I'm saying. I think amongst the many things you picked up too, but I think there were a lot of themes like mid-sized pharma that we were bullish on, and so a lot of other themes have gone right. The regulatory issues are there before all of us, and sometimes it's hard to see that when we need much better regulation, having regulatory snarls for whatever reasons. I'm not saying that there weren't any good reasons, but it does make things difficult for regulatory intense businesses. So I think if one could take a call that whether one wants to be away from regulatory intense businesses or one wants to be in it, there's always a flip side that it's regulated because demand is there forever. And if regulation is there, sometimes it will not work in your favor.
Certainly. What do you make of the restructuring at Infosys Technologies?
I think it's wonderful, absolutely. I think this restructuring has been very, very predicted, extremely well planned, and I think the choices are fantastic. One has to understand that Infosys is a creature of governance. We talked a lot about governance. And they simply say that if you have the right design and the right intentions, nobody can stop you. Even in this decision, they've gone by the same principles, that those who know the company well, those who know the business well, those who will arouse the highest amount of confidence, they looked at all those issues as probably a little more important, if not as equally important, as those who can push growth, those who can, manage things, who have imagination. So I think they have brought a great balance. And to have someone like Mr. Kamath as the chairman of the board, is a fantastic choice. Mr. Kamath is not only a great business leader, but ICICI has been an Infosys customer for the longest time. Their Finacle was probably, I think, first sold to Infosys, to ICICI. Mr. Kamath himself built a BFSI empire. BFSI is the largest segment of business for Infosys. So someone who understands the business of the company, both as a customer and as a sector expert. He is a business leader who has seen challenges, who has met challenges, and therefore who better than him? And then he has had the privilege of being on the board much before he became the chairman, so he's quite familiar with all the challenges. All in all, a fantastic choice.
What about IT stocks? Do you think the springtime for IT stocks is over?
Seasons are cyclical. They come again and again, and I think it's just that. Because the markets were slow, the markets were going, people were looking for defensive sectors, and so maybe, IT stocks had their own run-up. Then there are currency aspects also. So I think they are well-managed companies. The opportunity is large. They continue to produce, more than 15-20% growth every year. What else could you want in a stock?
Is Reliance a great contra buy at these levels? I know you track that one with a magnifying glass.
I haven't really, looked at Reliance acutely. I think what they're doing in terms of diversifying their risks, both in terms of bringing BP to manage the technology better, and in investing elsewhere. I think shale looks extremely exciting, more than the opportunity in a large market like US. I think the technology itself, that has come up in shale gives Reliance a pioneering, or rather I would say an early advantage in that country. So I think, and the large, the investment they are making in doubling their capacity in most areas, I think at a certain valuations, Reliance does look very exciting.
So where do you mind, Mr. Bhansali, the next leadership for Indian markets could emerge from?
I think Indian companies are leaders, are thought of. I mean, if an Adani goes and buys a major port in Australia, and that's an auction, I think it is an extraordinary asset. So, someone has bought a great coal mine, someone has bought an infrastructure company, a port. We are going and buying in chemicals, in metals. So I think India is a leader country today, and there are enough acts of leadership. I think, how can we forget JLR? It was the pride of the Western world, both the brands. And an Indian company bought it, and which was known for the small car, and now they have, turned around a luxury car, and they made a profit of £1 billion. So I think it's just no more one segment. I think the fact that you are an Indian company, you are respected today. If the government takes a view that we need to make a disinvestment, because that's good, and you have to do it in the market of today. It's like, we have a saying in Marwari that if a man dies today, you have to bury it today, and you have to bury where he dies. So these are, moment decisions, and great leadership lies in taking those decisions.
How has the life changed for Ballabh Bhansali after the Axis Bank and deal?
Well, a lot of my time is going into, completing the deal and thinking of, how we will execute the design that we set out to do.